But for those who are here, welcome. We'll soon start, and then we'll start also to introduce ourselves. Yes, I think though that we can start now. Hopefully, most people who are reading has joined. So first of all, welcome to this webinar that we have here at the University of Skövde. My name is Karin Jonegård, and I work as the international coordinator. These are my colleagues, so I'll let them introduce themselves. So I'll give Sarah the floor. So please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Larson. I also work here at the University of Skövde as an international coordinator. And I'll send it over to Katja next.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this webinar that focuses on the master program in Cognitive Neuroscience, the mind and brain. My name is Katja Valli, and I'm the program coordinator for this master program. And some of you might have actually already been in touch with me by email, and you're also welcome to do so in the future. And then I'll give the floor to Andreas.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. I'm also part of the Cognitive Neuroscience program. I'm a senior lecturer and the head of the subject, and I'm also going to tell you a little bit more about the program later on.
And Taylor.
I'm Taylor, and I'm a student ambassador here, so I'll tell you a little bit more about what it's like to be a student here at the university.
And yes, and you see this beautiful picture here. It is basically how it looks here today. You can see it's the autumn arriving. But Sarah, do you want to just tell us a bit about the agenda?
Absolutely. So this is the agenda that we're going to go through today, and we're going to try to make this webinar as informative for you guys as possible so you can make an informed decision when you're applying to our university, of course. First, we'll talk a little bit about our country, Sweden, and our town, which is called Skövde. And we will also introduce you to our university. After that, you will get a chance to talk to Katja and Andreas, whom are the program coordinators for this program, Cognitive Neuroscience, that we're talking about today. And then we'll also move on to talking about student life here in Skövde, tuition fees, living costs, scholarship opportunities, and all of that. And after that, Taylor will join us and talk about her experience with studying here at the university. Finally, after that, you will, of course, want to know how to apply to this program, and we will tell you all about that as well. And we're finishing off the session with a Q&A where you can ask all of your questions. And I forgot to mention that we will also have a Q&A session with the program coordinators in the beginning as well, after they've presented the program. So you'll be able to ask them questions about the program, specific questions that you have to them, and then more general scholarship, maybe English questions, things like that, you can ask us at the end. We will keep the Q&A box open for the entire webinar, so you can always leave any questions that you have in the Q&A box, and we will go through everything there and make sure you all get all your questions answered by the end of the webinar. We are also using QR codes in our presentations, and this is good for you to know. So you have your phone ready to take a screenshot of the Q&A or the QR code, so you can go directly to the important pages that we are talking about in the presentation. So let us begin. Over to you, Karin.
Thank you so much. Well, first, we're going to just talk a bit about Sweden, the little nation that have had a big impact in the world. At least we think so as Swedish people, of course. And just to mention some, you see the inventions here. You can say the pacemaker, the Tetra Pak, or Spotify, or modern refrigerator. No, I can't speak. Refrigerator. No, sorry. Refrigerator. And Skype, Metro, and a couple of more things. They are all Swedish inventions. And another famous Swedish invention is the dynamite. And you know who invented that? That was Alfred Nobel, a Swedish person. He became a very wealthy person, and he took all those money and invested them into the Nobel Prize. And that is something we're very proud of in Sweden. We will start, give the world new Nobel Prize winner, and it's going to be a lovely ceremony in the Swedish capital of Stockholm, in the city hall there. You're going to see the Queen and everyone participating. But just to mention, like a couple of years ago, it was actually the Swedish researcher Center Pääbo, who he's the Swedish person, who won the Nobel Prize. Another one who won the Nobel Prize was awarded was Emmanuelle Charpentier and Jennifer A. Doudna. The cool thing about Emmanuelle Charpentier is that she did a lot of her research here in Sweden, actually at the University of Umeå. And I think this is like one of the reasons why we have so many Nobel Prize winners, either that they have conducted a part of their research here or they actually come from Sweden, is that we invest so much of our GDP into research and development, most than most other countries. And I think we all think that has given us an advantage. So we're actually one of the world's innovation leaders, as you can see here in the picture as well. And well, when we're talking about, Sweden, we want to focus a bit on Skövde. So perhaps, Sara, can you just, make sure that we go to Skövde?
Yes, of course. So in Sweden, we actually have a concept that we call lagom, and that is the little word that you see on the screen right there next to Skövde. It says lagom. And we have a lot of concepts that you will get familiar with as you come to our country, but lagom is definitely one of the first things I think you will meet here. And this means not too little, not too much, it's just the right amount. And for many reasons, Skövde really personifies this. It is right in between the two biggest cities in Sweden, Stockholm and Gothenburg. It's almost also the perfect center between Oslo in Norway and Copenhagen in Denmark. So we like to think that Skövde has a very lagom location. If we move to the next image, we can also see some reasons why Skövde is so lagom. It is a tranquil and very green. We have very green surroundings here. It's just the lagom amount of greenery we find. We also have a beautiful mountain here right in Skövde. It's actually right in the center of the town. And you can see an image from the top of the mountain to the right. This mountain is very lagom. It's 300 meters above sea level. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes to walk to the top from the center of our town. And we think that is just the lagom amount of hiking that we like to do on the weekend. We can also have, if you couldn't tell from before, Karin is kind of a history nerd. So if you want some more information about cool historical spots here in Skövde, she is definitely the right person to talk to about that. She's not only the expert at the international questions, she can also answer the historical ones. So she will know a lot about the monastery that you see to the right here. It's in Varnhem. I think it's about 1,000 years old, and it has a lot of cool historical elements to look at, and also a cool history that you should definitely check out when you come here. Let me move on to something that makes us not so lagom though, because Skövde is actually the best student city in Sweden right now. And you don't even have to take our word for this, because we actually won the award this year. And this was awarded by the Swedish National Union of Students here in Sweden. And I can actually give you a little bit of a secret, because this is not only the first time that we won this award, it's actually the second time. So this is an award that's given out annually in Sweden, and this year we got it for multiple reasons. Mostly for our nice welcoming of students. We invest a lot of time into making you guys feel welcome here in Skövde. We invest a lot of time in making sure helping you find student housing, and we're also very proud to have a very international school. So if Karin, can you tell us a little bit more about our university then?
Of course, I would love to do that. So the University of Skövde was established in 1977 by an act of the Swedish Parliament. Our university is a governmental agency under the Swedish Minister of education. I just want to highlight that we are public institution in that sense. And the university has this beautiful mix of, I would not only say mix, like a fusion between old and new. You can see here on the pictures, we have a couple of old buildings, but also new buildings, because it used to be like a military camp in that sense. We have this very militaristic city in that sense. We have a lot of different militaries staying here. You will notice when you get here, but it's absolutely cool and safe. And the thing is that some parts of this buildings used to belong to the military in that sense. But of course, it has been updated with new technology and decor, which provides this really amazing and creative environments. So what I love to show always is the outdoor facilities. As you can see here, you can see the 4 seasons. Now it's the autumn, then you have all these beautiful leaves, and then we have the winter soon coming, and then we also have the summer, and then the spring before the summer, of course. It is beautiful because almost during all parts of the season, I would say except winter, you can actually sit outdoor and study. We have amazing tables and chairs, and you can even plug in your computer and you have perfect Wi-Fi to sit outdoors. So it is beautiful to be inside and outside the facilities on the campus. And you can see here that Sarah wants to introduce you a bit to the university as well, showing a bit the university at a glance.
Exactly. So at our school, we have 11,558 students right now and 495 staff. 2/3 of those are actually academic staff, which we're very proud of because there's a lot of academic help for you guys here and support. We have 60 plus student nationalities, 24 international programs, 130 partner universities in more than 30 countries, 450 incoming international students every year, and 90 outgoing exchange students every year. So we're definitely a very international school, I would say. And can you tell us some more about the geography, Karin?
I would love to do that as well. So here you can see the campus. So the blue line indicates where the university is located, and you can see the beautiful park that is basically embedding the whole school. And you can see parts of the old buildings as well as the new buildings. And the green line is where the Skövde Science Park is indicated. This Skövde Science Park just keeps on growing all the time. It's a block. They're even talking about the Skövde Science City. So it will be super exciting for you when you come here, which we really hope next year. And then you can enjoy and see they're building everything. And the pink line indicates where we have shared facilities. So you can see that white building is called Portalen. The left part belongs to the university. The right part belongs to the Skövde Science Park, where there's a lot of companies located, both medium-sized, small companies. I know that even, I think it's Volvo has their own office here, just in one of the buildings, just because we work so closely with them within research. So our beautiful campus that you can enjoy when you come here. And the University of Skövde is also a very specialized university. So we have 5 schools. They are within informatics, business, health sciences, engineering science, and bioscience. And Cognitive Neuroscience is located under the School of Biosciences, and the head of school is called Diana Tilevik. And that has about 1,647 students with 48 employees with 8 professors. And we have the special focus in system biology, bioinformatics, infection biology, bioinformatics, bioscience, system biology, ecology, and cognitive neuroscience. Cognitive neuroscience that we're going to talk a bit further about now, because now we're going to let you meet the program directors that you have met, but we're going to let them talk. So over to you, Andreas. You can start sharing your PowerPoint.
All right. Thank you so much, Karin. Just a moment. I will share the screen. Does everybody see my screen now?
It looks perfect.
Okay,
Absolutely perfect.
everybody good? Then hello again to everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the Cognitive Neuroscience program right now. It's a little bit of like just like a rough guide, so to say, that you get a better understanding of what you're actually going to do if you decide to kind of join us here in Skövde. So just a few words about myself. Sorry, oops, that's quick. A few words about myself. I already introduced myself, but my name is Andreas Kalkert. I am a senior lecturer in cognitive neuroscience, and I'm also the head of subject within cognitive neuroscience. I have a background actually in neuroscience and cognitive science, so it's a right mix here to be here. And I'm going to give you now a little bit of a short intro about our department. Um, sorry. That's going a bit quick here. Sorry, something is not working here. So, um, once again, so we are the Department of Cognitive Neuroscience and Philosophy. And that is actually a very unique combination, which you won't find that often. And that already hints at something very critical in our work, I believe, that we are both. We are cognitive neuroscientists, but we're also philosophers, because our department is doing a lot of research on questions which are demanding more or less both of that. And I think in this way, our department is a very unique, not only in Sweden, but also within Europe, that we combine both cognitive neuroscience and philosophers. So our team, like our staff, consists of lecturers from Sweden, Finland, Estonia, and Germany. That's by myself. And we have in total 3 programs. So there are 2 undergraduate programs and the postgraduate program, the Cognitive Neuroscience Master. That's the reason why you're here today. So we have in total these 3 programs. All of them are focused on cognitive neuroscience, which in that constellation as well is very unique because there are not many cognitive neuroscience programs like this, particularly already at the undergraduate level. And as you see, we're doing this already for quite some time, and we have a lot of experience in the teaching of cognitive neuroscience as a special subject within, neuroscience and psychology. So a few words then about the program, because one of the things you're probably wondering is uh, if I join this program, what exactly I'm going to do. And I'm going to give you a bit of an explanation now to try to tell you a little bit what are the courses about, what do you do there, and what are the possibilities for you when joining the program. So the one thing we have to first mention though is like that the courses, of course, the program's relatively short. We have a 1-year program, which with 60 credits, where you have these 4 courses here in the autumn term, followed by a thesis project of 30 credits as well. And you see that is, so to say, very tight, very dense study time where you're going to have a very kind of intensive and thorough introduction into cognitive neuroscience. These are the 4 courses you're going to study in the autumn term. As you see, each of them has 7.5 credits. In a nutshell, I often try to explain it like that you have 2 courses that are centered on research methods, where you learn about the typical, methods used within cognitive neuroscience research. And then you have 2 other courses that are more about the subject itself, so like more content related, where you talk, for example, about consciousness or about other cognitive functions. So you have like 50-50 equally distributed, like something about methods and something about cognitive functions. And let me try to give you now a bit of a quick overview of the individual courses. So the first course, this is actually one of the first courses you're going to start with, is the Consciousness and its Neural Basis course, which is done by Professor Revonzo, who is a leading researcher in consciousness research. And you will get there a very thorough, in-depth discussion of consciousness, how to investigate it, where are the challenges, not only from a cognitive neuroscience point of view, but also from a philosophical view. The course consists of lectures and seminars and a number of written assignments and are directly done by Professor Revonzo. So that's definitely one of the best ways to kind of get an in-depth kind of, introduction into consciousness as a research area. Then at the same time, you will have the first research methods course, which is called Research Methods and Data Processing in Cognitive Neuroscience. The idea of this course is to give you an introduction into the different methods used in cognitive neuroscience. That is in particular, for example, MRI, fMRI, EEG, ERP, but also other methods like TMS or PET imaging. So here you get a bit of a more theoretical kind of introduction into these different methods. What are, so to say, how they're used, what can they do, what are the benefits, what are the challenges and limitations of these technologies. The whole course consists of lectures, a workshop that is on a very interesting subject area, because here you get to know, for example, how to run a meta-analysis with fMRI data. So you get like your own little kind of tool to be able to run such analyses by yourself. And in the end, you also have a poster presentation where you talk about the research done at our department. Then this is, so to say, the first two courses which are running in parallel. In the next period, you run the next two courses. And here there's the research practice course. It's the second research methods course, as I said before, so it's the second one. But as already the name suggests, it's not just about research methods, but it's about how is research done in practice. And here the idea is that you have a more practical approach into these research methods, in particular into EEG, where you're going to learn how to, you know, set up an EEG, how to get data, good data, and also how to analyze it by using some kind of like MATLAB scripts, for example. The second avenue is about body illusion experiments, which particular which is done by me here, and you're learning how to run your own body illusion experiments in real life, but also in virtual reality, which is the second big avenue within our research lab. And this course consists of a number of lectures, seminar, workshops, and online assignments so that you kind of get both a theoretical kind of introduction into these things. But of course, here, as I said, it's a research practice course. It's really something hands-on. You go into the lab and try to learn how to do these things by yourself. Then the fourth course is the seminars course in cognitive neuroscience. Here you get like an in-depth and critical discussion of a number of selected topics in cognitive neuroscience. We are typically rotating the subjects and the areas a bit, but the idea here is more like of a very interesting discussion round with lecturers, with professors, where you have a chance to talk about something really in-depth. This course consists of a number of lectures, a more journal club seminar. So as I said, it's more about discussion, and you have a number of written assignments here. We also often use this course as an opportunity to invite other lecturers. So for example, we had several lecturers, and we actually discussed their own research in our seminar there, and they had a chance, our students had a chance to directly talk and interact with the researchers who actually created some of the studies we were talking about. And that was often very appreciated, and it's a very fun activity to talk about research in this more direct way. When you have done all of that, so when you have completed these four courses in the winter, you would be then jumping into the spring term and into the master degree project. The master degree project is 30 credits, and typically you do an experiment. We are going to utilize our own lab facilities, and it allows you, for example, to do EEG experiments or virtual reality experiments. It could be also that you may kind of tend to a more theoretical thesis, and here you could also, for example, write a systematic review that we do also often in our department. The laboratory, and that is probably one of the also interesting things to understand and to know what is going on in our lab, because all of these things you're going to see now are things that are available in our lab and that can be used for our master thesis project, meaning for your master thesis project. We have a multi-channel EEG system, and that also allows to kind of measure other physiological parameters. For example, so you can do your experiment running EEG, but also you can measure then other aspects of the participants' kind of, physiological functioning, for example, respiration. We can measure heart rate variability and all these kind of other physiological estimates, and can see how your participant is performing. Then the second part I also have already mentioned before is the virtual reality side. Here you see like an interesting animation which is done from one of our experiments, where you can see we are using virtual reality technology and motion tracking to allow new interesting experiments you can perform in our lab. We have multiple virtual reality headsets. We have a number of them, but we also have in particular other motion tracking and eye tracking facilities of facial tracker that allows to kind of get some basic and fundamental kind of motion tracking done as well. We can do other interesting experiments that creates touch sensations, for example, that are connected to these virtual reality experiences. And that allows like a very interesting kind of and creative ways of doing an experiment using virtual reality. So all these things, like all these things I just mentioned, are available to you. We typically like to emphasize that we want you to go into the lab, use those facilities, use our equipment, use the technology we are offering on our lab, so you're able to kind of really do an interesting experiment, something that really, makes you curious, really makes you to do it. And I think this is like one of the interesting opportunities also to come up with an interesting research question by yourself. So then, last but not least, if you're deciding maybe not to do the thesis within our lab facilities, we have a number of contexts where you would be able maybe to do your thesis. Then outside our own department, we have several connections that would allow you to, for example, to go to University of Turku, maybe also within the University of Skövde, or also within other universities in Sweden. Some of our particularly in recent years, we have quite a few students who are writing their master thesis now at other research institutions within Sweden, but also internationally. To support these things, I can also mention that we are part of the network of European neuroscience schools as the only school in Sweden, and that would also kind of support such research activities when you want to go for research visit abroad, for example. Yes, that's it in a nutshell. If you want to have more information, there's a Q&A on our program homepage where you probably get a lot of answers already to some of the things you're wondering about. Otherwise, if you don't, please contact Professor Katja Valli or me that could directly answer your questions. When it comes to some of the other questions about eligibility or the whole application process, probably some of our also staff who is attending right now can be of help and support you there. Katja and me are typically not the person who may be able to solve those problems for you, but feel free to kind of get in touch, and we're trying to help you and support your application. And that's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Andreas. I think we have some questions here for Andreas and Katja.
Okay.
And let's see. Is a student from informatics background, if you're a student who have an informatic background, can you apply for this program?
Yes, I mean, the official, if you look into the official requirements, you will probably see something like that. Or you should have a degree within cognitive neuroscience or the equivalent. That means, yes, if you have a degree that is not cognitive neuroscience, but from a different area, you may apply. The main question, which is the one I cannot answer you right now, is really not knowing what exactly you've done, is how kind of, so to say, how big are your chances to be, so to say, to be eligible in the end? That can only be said at the very end once we have seen all your documentation, meaning all your coursework and your degrees from before. But in generally, yes, our current cohort, for example, is a very mixed group of people with different degrees coming from different backgrounds, and it is something we actually appreciate. So we don't want just to have cognitive neuroscientists per se there, but we want to have people from other research directions, from cognitive science, from psychology, or other fields into this program. So it is definitely very possible and likely, but with the disclaimer that I cannot tell you something like, completely final, given that I can't say really anything concretely about your particular, documentation and application. So please give it a try, because it's very likely that you may have a chance.
Perfect. Thank you so much. How much of a background in psychology would you need to do the program? I come from a background in neuroscience, so it is similar. But yeah.
It's a bit similar, but like surely if you have a neuroscience background, this would be a good step for you to kind of get into cognitive neuroscience. We like to see that the students who are coming into the program have, of course, certain familiarity with topics that are relevant. Meaning, for example, neurophysiology is a good kind of way to enter, but also maybe cognitive psychology. Um, it is definitely something that would be kind of, like beneficial to get started with this. How much? That is a bit of a different question. I don't know what you mean with how much. Of course, familiarity with things like cognitive psychology or perception would be very beneficial and a good kind of argument to link your background to the current degree or to the current program. Um, but also, I guess, like having, so to say, maybe not so much. I'm not sure what your background is. Is it maybe neuroscience directly or?
You can write that in the Q&A or in the chat, please,
Yeah,
Penny. Then so we can know a bit more specific.
that would be helpful to kind of push. But also
Mm.
here, the same way I said before, um, yes, like you don't have to have studied, you don't have to have studied cognitive neuroscience directly to be eligible to and to be able to apply to the program. So don't think that you just have to have cognitive neuroscience as a degree, but a degree which comes from a cognate area or which comes from a neuroscience background is definitely something that would be, likely eligible to for your application.
We got an answer here saying that is neuroscience directly.
Well, yeah, we would recognize that as eligible for the degree.
Perfect. Thank you. And do you have more questions, please? Oh, we got thank you. Thank you very much.
You're
It's
welcome.
helpful. Got it
Good.
from 10 here. More questions, please write them in the chat. Sorry, write them in the Q&A. Sorry. It's easier if you write them in the Q&A because then it's easier for us to keep track of them, basically.
I can just answer quickly. Somebody asked if the meeting is being recorded, and yes, the meeting is being recorded. Not the Q&A section at the end, but everything else will be recorded and uploaded to YouTube, and you will get a link to this in the thank you email for attending the webinar later.
So hopefully, we hope that we will have a good recording. Both Sarah and me are doing the recordings, but you never know. So
That is true. That is true. You never know, but hopefully.
Hopefully. Any more questions for Andreas or Katja? Here, another one. What is the relationship between the students and lecturers? Are one-to-one relations encouraged? Sorry, Andreas, you need to unmute yours.
Sorry, I was muted again. We typically have more of a smaller cohort, which means the interaction between lecturers and students is quite direct. You get to know some of us quite well because we are going to do a lot of, lectures with you and a lot of kind of activities with you. And generally, I think I can also say that within Sweden, or within our university, also like the relationship between lecturers and students is quite direct and open and quite fairly easy and informal, so to say. So we have typically good relationship with our students. You're not going to sit in a massive lecture hall with 500 people and nobody knows you. We typically know our students by name. We typically chat and see each other on the campus, and that's like one of the beautiful things I think within our university and also within our program that we get the chance to really work for 1 year together quite intensively, quite so to say direct, and by this have also like a very good relationship to the whole student cohort. So yes, you're going to have quite a kind of direct and personal relationship, I would say, particularly compared to other countries where I would say the relationship is more formal and more distant.
Perfect, thank you. Do you have any more questions? You can just write them in the Q&A. But also Katja and Andreas, perhaps you can write your... Oh, here's another question. Suppose someone has a master in cognitive science from a different university and wishes to apply for a different approach. Thinking about the background.
Is it similar about the background again? With a master in cognitive science, also here, you're very likely to be eligible for the application. We have had students with a cognitive science background in the past, and we hope we also have that in the future. So I think here again, likewise with the other questions, yes. I'm not sure if I understand correctly the idea of like with a different approach or for a different approach. Is it more that you mean that you want to kind of like, so to say, change tracks a bit from cognitive science more into cognitive neuroscience? Is that maybe what you meant?
You can answer. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. Absolutely. Then in particular, I would say the program is a potential very good candidate for you. As I said before, we have quite a diverse student body, meaning people with different degrees coming in the past years. And that also means we have quite a lot of students who are looking, so to say, for their way in to cognitive neuroscience, who have maybe studied something slightly different before, but then want to have like a very kind of thorough introduction into cognitive neuroscience in particular. And here, our one-year program is potentially a very good option for you because we have a one-year program. So it's kind of, so to say, you can oversee it quite well. It's 1 year, it's intense, but after that, you will have a thorough introduction and overview into cognitive neuroscience. So likewise, like hopefully that is exactly what you're looking for.
Perfect. Any more questions? Well, if you don't have any questions, perhaps Katja and Andreas can just put your email in the chat. So
Sure.
in case you have more questions, you can just send them an email. Because I know at least me, the best questions comes after I've been processing and I goes like, oh yeah, that was something I really wanted to know. So please, you can send them an email and we will get back to you if you have more practical information about application procedures and stuff like that. You can send an email to study@his.se. Thank you so much, Andreas and Katja, for joining us. You can continue being here if you want to, or if you need to leave, then you need to leave. It's not a problem. It's your
Yes.
choice. But we will continue with the webinar.
Absolutely. I will say goodbye for now. Thank you so much for joining. If you have questions, as Karin said, please send Katja and me an email. We're trying to help you accordingly, and we hope to see you maybe next year in Skövde then. So thank you so much. Take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
I will be hanging around a bit in case you have any further questions about the program specifically. But as Andreas said, for people who are thinking about going into cognitive neuroscience, this one-year master's might be a really good stepping stone to consider. Most of the other programs in cognitive neuroscience are two-year masters. And what sometimes happens is after the students graduate from our program is that they want to take another master program in cognitive neuroscience, which is geared toward maybe a different direction, like animal research or affective neuroscience. But many also are kind of like more ambitious and they immediately start to apply for PhD positions. And we have alumni in multiple different universities around the world who have managed to start a kind of like a successful research career after graduating from our little town and not so little University of Skövde.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we will continue here. Yes. Oh, let's see. Perfect. And now you see the correct picture here. You never know because we're switching. So that was the Q&A. And now we're going to talk just a bit about international programs. So Sarah, please go ahead.
Of course, yes. So most of you might be here for the Cognitive Neuroscience program, but we also want to inform you of our other international programs because we do have 24 of those. So they're all in the fields of behavioral sciences, bioscience, business and marketing, and management, engineering and technology, game development, health sciences, and informatics. At a bachelor's level, we have 4 full-time programs, and they're all 3 years long. And at a master's level, we have 20 full-time programs, and those range between 1 to 2 years in length. And if we quickly go through our programs here, just so you know what we're offering. At a bachelor's level, we have biomedicine, cybersecurity and network administration, molecular biodesign, and molecular bioinformatics. And for the 1-year master's, we have artificial intelligence for bioinformatics and biomedicine. And those two are available in the spring semester, not in the autumn, just so you know. Business development and marketing, cognitive neuroscience, mind and brain, which is what we're talking about today. Data science, games, aesthetics and narration, infection biology, molecular biotechnology, molecular ecology. And then we also have 2-year masters, biomarkers in molecular medicine, computational methods in engineering, data science, game development player experience, game development series games, infection biology, intelligent automation, molecular biotechnology, molecular ecology, privacy information and cybersecurity, and systems biology, with the specialization in bioinformatics. And you can read more about all these programs on their web pages on our website. And you can use this QR code to get there, and you'll get more specific information about prerequisites and all of the information that you basically need to know if you're eligible for these programs and read more about them. So I definitely advise you to check them out if you're interested.
Yes, and as we were talking about within the field of behavioral science, we have the master program, as you have been listening to, in Cognitive Neuroscience, Mind and Brain. And you have heard all about that. It's focused on cognitive neuroscience, psychology, and philosophy. And we're very proud to say that graduates often continue to PhD studies worldwide. So here are the QR code to the program we are talking about today. And Sarah, do you want to talk about the integration with the business community?
Absolutely, because this is something we're so proud of here at the University of Skövde. We have a lot of industrial partners within the community and business that surrounds our university. We actually work with world-leading companies to drive innovation and sustainability and digital transformation across many different sectors. For instance, in automotive, we work with Volvo and Scania, which you might have heard of before. In technology and electronics, we work with ABB, Huawei, which I am not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly still. I think I need to look that up, Karin. And Microsoft, of course. In manufacturing and engineering, we're collaborating with Sandvik and IKEA, which you may also have heard of. In healthcare and life sciences, we work with AstraZeneca. And for food and agriculture, we work with the Swedish food brand Arla. These partnerships, they really reflect trust and quality and a shared vision for the future between us and these companies that we work with. And you as students really benefit from this because through these connections with the industry and real world experience, you definitely get a lot of improved career prospects, and you're getting the opportunity to basically work with world leading companies while you're still students here with us. And we think that's a really good investment in your future, of course. So some of these collaborations Colin is going to tell you about now. We're starting with Skövde Science Park.
Yes. Yeah, I mentioned a bit earlier when we were showing the beautiful picture of the campus, and you can see the pink line, the green line, and everything. And this was Skövde Science Park, the green line. And the thing is that the university collaborates quite a lot, as we mentioned, with the Science Park, Skövde. It is, as also mentioned before, a center for research and innovation. It was established in 1999, and the whole idea, the aim with this Skövde Science Park is to create this interaction between the surrounding business community and the academy. And the Science Park also helps students who have graduated from the university mostly within the IT field, to start up their own companies. So we have this business incubator. And the Science Park in Skövde here employs about 10 business developers who can help you support students throughout that process. And we also have something called Sweden Game Arena. Sarah, please tell us.
Exactly. Yes, the Sweden Game Arena is something we're also really proud of here in Skövde, because it is one of the first game arenas that were actually here in Sweden, and it's right here in our small town of Skövde, which is really, really cool. It consists of 500 game students and actually 200 game developers. And every year, the leading conference within gaming is hosted here in our town as well. I think it was just last week, actually. So it's pretty cool that they're all coming here to us. And a couple of weeks ago, I actually met a student at a gaming student here, and he had just started this semester. And we talked a little bit, and I asked him, like, what's the coolest thing that's happened to you so far here in Sweden? You've only been here for like a month. And he like lit up. He got so excited, and he was like, yes, I play this game at home and every single day. And my first day here, I actually got to meet the developer of that game, and he was so excited about it. And it was so cool that he got to experience that. So yeah, they're all here in our small town. It's so cool. So we like to brag about that a little bit, actually.
Absolutely. So if you're into gaming, this is the place to be as well.
Definitely. Yeah.
Or into cognitive neuroscience, this is also the place to be. I
course,
just want to
yeah.
highlight that.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And then we also have the ASSA Industrial Innovation Arena. This is also a great example of this great collaborations that we have between the academia and industry. This ASSAR ASSAR Arena offers like a manufacturing and technology companies a world-class innovation environment to provide new solutions for the future. It is a meeting place, like a showroom, where different stakeholders within the manufacturing industry or technology companies can find relevant contacts. It's a really amazing place. We have been there quite a lot, and I think Taylor might talk a bit about that later on. She's studying engineering, so she has been hanging out there quite a lot, I assume. And so a lot of really amazing places for us within the academia to meet people from the surrounding business community to develop different types of ideas and create shared research projects. So it is awesome. That's like the really great advantage with like a small city here, because we're so dependent on each other, the university of the companies and the other way around. So it is like a great harmony of good collaboration. And we also have research environments. We have been mentioning some. You saw the cool pictures that Andreas was showing. They have this amazing lab at the Cognitive Neuroscience. I've been there. Sarah, you need to go there.
Yes, I
It's
haven't
super
been. It
cool.
looks so cool. I'm so amazed every time I see these photos. I'm like, this looks unreal. So
Yeah,
cool.
we had like a couple of years ago where you could go into the different laboratories and places where our researchers conduct their research, and it's super awesome. It's like you really just want to hang out there all the time. It is an amazing research environment.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of more. So, you know, we have digital health research, organizing for sustainable development, virtual engineering, and a lot more. So please use the QR code, and then you can find all the cool research environments, but also that are connected to your specific field of area. And we also have some extra treats that we offer you. So we have this free Swedish course that is for students that you will learn a bit about Swedish society and Swedish culture, that is equal to 3 credits. It starts during the introduction program. We will talk a bit more about the international introduction later on, so we'll become a bit more logical. But it will give you an introduction to the Swedish culture and society. You will learn some useful words and phrases in Swedish. It's also free out of tuition, free out of tuition free if it's taken during the first year semester here. So, I mean, learning Swedish is one of the best ways to feel at home here. It is also a great opportunity for you to boost your career. So this is why you should participate in the Swedish courses. I will give you another one as a treat as well. Because it's so amazing, it will help you to easier settle in, make local friends, but also open for more job opportunities after you graduate. In many companies in Sweden and across Sweden, appreciate employees who can speak at least tiny bit of Swedish. So use this as one of the great investments that you can do into your future. So, but it's also good to know, the basic of Swedish culture, so you won't clash, because in Sweden it's very much standing up in a line, wait for your turn. If you don't do that, you're going to have problems. And, so you will get all the social codes that is so important. You don't want to miss out on a job interview or anything like that because you didn't realize that social culture code. So, and you will understand the Swedish people more because you will give some, insights about the values, the traditions as well. As well as some basic Swedish, but there's so many funny proverbs that you need to learn when you come to Sweden. One of them, this is a funny one. This is very local if you come from the region Skaraborg, but it said, "There's no cow on the ice." And people goes like, "Why do we talk about cows on ice?" And in Sweden, when it gets really cold, we get ice on the lakes. However, if the ice is thin, you shouldn't go in it. So back in the days when we were more into agriculture, people would have their own cow. And if the cow would go out on the ice and fell down the ice, that would be very bad because they wouldn't get milk, and then they would also lose, you could get meat from the cow and everything. So you would lose your income, the way you got food, basically. So back 150 years ago, if the cow was on the ice, that was a big problem because they could fall down and drown. So that's why I have all these funny proverbs that you just need to learn. Okay, so you will learn that during in those classes. And if you don't, please remember that and ask your teachers about the funny Skaraborgska proverbs. And then you also have another one, a free Swedish course that is Swedish for foreign students. Oral proficiency and listening comprehension. You will learn some basic communication in Swedish, but also how to pronounce and stuff like that. It is free of tuition fee if you take it during the second semester of studies. And we're going to talk a bit about student life. So I'm going to let you talk about the learning and teaching style, Sarah.
Absolutely. So I'm so glad we have Taylor here today because she knows a lot about student life, and I'm sure she will talk to you more about that later because I am not a student. So I don't know for a fact that all that I'm saying is true, but I hope that I'm not lying. Anyway, here in Sweden, let me tell you a little bit about the learning and teaching style that we have here. So many international students that come here to us actually find that our learning environments and teaching style is a bit different from what they are used to. And most of this I have found is because Swedish education, especially on the higher levels, is very focused on students' independent thought and their independent thinking, their independent skills on like working on projects independently. That's actually a large part of what studying here is, because you may not have classes every single day of the week. You might only have classes maybe sometimes 1 day a week or 2 days a week. So you're still expected to spend 40 hours a week studying. And that other time that you're not in class, you're expected to do other types of work, maybe reading up on material, working with your classmates on projects, things like that. And that all has to happen independently. So nobody's going to tell you what to do, basically. And a lot of people find that different when they come here. Another thing that they find, usually students find a little bit different, is our flat organization. And what I mean by flat is that we go by first names here. So we call each other Karin and Sara and Taylor. We don't call our professor Mr. or Mrs. Yeah, we don't even call our doctor that actually. So Sweden in general is quite how do you say that?
Hierarchical?
Help me, Taylor.
Hierarchical?
Hierarchical.
Hierarchical.
Hierarchical. Okay, I need to work on that one. But yeah, it's quite a flat organization altogether in Sweden, I would say. Um, One thing that is really great is that our student or our education is very student-centered. So there is a lot of support for you guys. Like I said before, 2/3 of our staff is academic staff. So there's a lot of teachers here to help you, and they really focus on helping you develop your critical and analytical thinking skills, your independent research skills, your group working skills, problem solving skills, leadership skills, and all of that stuff that you need for your future careers. We're also super proud that we are an international school. And like I said earlier in the beginning, we have over 60 different nationalities here at our school. And I think that's quite a lot because we're not the biggest school in Sweden, but we still have a lot of international students coming to us from different parts of the world. I think almost every corner of the world is going to be represented soon. So that's very cool. And I think also our students, they appreciate this because this creates global classrooms, not only for the international students, but also for the national students, because a lot of times you will be studying with national students as well. This really gives you a chance to build your international networks while you're still students. So that's definitely a pro of coming here to Skövde. We also have great student support, which Karin will tell you about.
Yes, of course. So this is something we're also very proud of is our great student support. So we have really amazing studying careers counselor who will help you before your studies, during your studies, and after your studies. And you can go to them and talk anytime basically when you're here and they will help you. They will also, when you come here, during the first introductional week, they will give you tons of tips on how to organize your studies here. So we work also very proactive. So you will be able to, coming to a new context, a new country, perhaps a totally different way of studying. They will give you all the good tips. But also, if you come here and you have like dyslexia, ADHD, or autism, or any other form of disability, you should be able to study here at the university. It should never ever prevent you from getting an education here at our university. We will give you tons of, targeted student support and other adaptations in order to make your studies easier. So that is our colleague, Virpi. She's responsible for that and she will help you out. We also have another colleague called Annika. And you can use the QR code, so you will get more information about that as well here. But then, just Sarah, which is the favorite place for our students to be?
I mean, I've heard it's the library. Taylor, do you agree?
I would say either the library or G building.
Okay. Yeah, G
Totally
building is
understand
good
that.
too. Yes, it's
Mm.
beautiful.
Mm.
But our university library it's a very, very modern facility with a lot of different group study rooms, and you have free access to books and articles, both in physical and digital form. I was there the other day talking to a girl that works there, and she told me all about the fact that they're really focusing on how students actually learn better in different environments and with different types of ways of learning. So they have exercise bikes that you can get on while you're actually reading. They have these kind of like Pilates balls that you can sit on to study. They have the group rooms. They have rooms where you can sit by yourself in a box that's soundproof. If you want to be like in totally by yourself, you can sit there. So there's a lot of different ways you can study in the library, and this picture really doesn't do it justice, I think, because it's a very nice library. And in the library, we also have the study support center. So that is different from the student support center that we just talked about. The study support center offers tutoring in the following areas. So language style and structure, academic writing, study strategies, and referencing and citation. It's just important to remember that they won't help you out with proofreading, give you advice on concerning subject content or translation that you will have to figure out by yourself. But they are really, really supportive in a lot of different ways. So I would definitely contact them, especially with the academic writing, because I remember when I was studying, I thought that was the most difficult part, getting a hang of citation and like writing academically. So definitely reach out to them because they're here to help you for sure. And Karin, tell us a little bit more about the extracurricular life here.
Yes, absolutely. You know, education is better with friends, and Taylor is really soon with we just have a few PowerPoint slides left, and then she's going to dive into that a bit more. But we also have special interest groups. For example, we have also the student union, and at the University of Skövde, the student union represents the students. It is run by students, for students, and work with issues that affect students at the university. So it's really important that it is like it is basically a non-profit organization that is run democratically by its members. And you know, every time we have a committee meeting, there's always going to be a representative of the student union there. So for example, when Sarah and I go to the vice chancellor's meeting to get agreement signed, there is always going to be the vice president and the president of the student union sitting there as well. And they also get all the information in advance, so they have a possibility to come with questions and other things as well. Questions and you know, if they have some point of views, basically. And I'm just going to mention ESM because I think Taylor is going to talk about that later on because she's the president of ESM. So I'm just going to mention that they exist, and she will give a further explanation about that. And so we have something really great to look forward to. And we're just going to mention some words, some voices. So you can see here are some of our students. And Teresa, for example, she comes from Nigeria, and she thinks that the best thing about the Skövde is the strong emphasis on practical learning and innovation. We have Faith Grace from the UK, and she thinks that international education has expanded my experience and perspective. So we're glad to hear that as well. And we have Bosra from Syria, and she thinks that Skövde has been the perfect place to kickstart her career as a researcher. We're glad to hear that as well. And Elliot from France, he thinks that one of his best experiences have been to work here on hands-on projects with peers from different backgrounds. So you can hear their voices there. They're highlighting different things about the education style, about being here, and why they have made their choices to join us. And Sarah, please, tell us about this picture. What is going on there?
Yeah, what is this pink stuff? We don't have pink snow in Sweden. We do have snow though, so you'll get to see that hopefully, but it's not pink. This is actually the confetti cannon that we usually shoot off at our introduction week at the beginning of the semester. So we have an international introduction that is specifically for you guys, our international students. And this is a week that is usually very, very appreciated by our international students. I would say the best thing about the international introduction is definitely meeting new friends. You will get to meet so many different people from so many different places. You will get to really find people that you connect with during this introduction. And fun fact, this year, the international introduction was my first week of working here at the University of Skövde. So I got the same experience basically that all of the students got during this introduction week. And it was so lovely because I didn't just get to meet so many of my new colleagues, I also got to meet so many of the students. And it was just so fun. Like I said before, we have a very flat organization. So I was hanging out with the staff one day, I was hanging out with the students next day. Like it was super fun, and I really enjoyed this. And I definitely then saw it also from the students' perspective. So what happens then at the international introduction? Well, it's basically a week-long introduction where you are introduced to our university. You get to learn all about the academic procedures that we have here. You get to see the campus, do a campus tour. You even get to do a city tour with a bus, which is really cool, going up to that mountain that I talked about earlier. And it's very beautiful up there, so you won't want to miss that. You also will have a social program. So this program runs from the early morning until the late hours of the night if you want to, because there are just events happening every single day. And you will meet a lot of the buddies. These are the guys in the, this year was pink shirts, as you see on the picture. I think maybe they changed because I've seen other photos where they've worn blue before. So I'm not sure since this was my first week also. But this year they wore pink, and these are actually students that are helping out and guiding you guys. So you will get to meet actual students and ask them a lot of questions. And remember, there are no stupid questions during this introduction week or ever, basically. So feel free to just ask them anything you want, and you'll get help with basically anything. It's also a great time to figure out, like, because this is the week before studies actually start. So you'll have a lot of time to figure out what you're going to be, where you're going to be studying, where's my classroom, how do I get a that key card that I need to get into the library, all of that stuff. You can figure that out as well. So yeah, it's definitely a much appreciated event, and one of the things that actually was the reason why we became Student City of the Year again this year.
And just when you're talking about the confetti, this
Yeah.
year it was actually purple, dark purple, because
True.
that was the color of, becoming this Student City of the Year. So that was a
Yeah.
bit special. Usually it's pink actually,
Yeah.
but now it was a bit extra.
Yeah. Extra celebration.
Extra celebration, exactly. And it's so fun because the person who ordered that was actually our colleague Frida, who is responsible for exchange possibilities. So that was
Yeah.
like a really great thing as well. And so she's the person you will get in touch with if you want to study abroad or want to have a traineeship abroad. Since you're studying for 1 year, it might not be possible for you to go for a semester, for example, but sometimes there are possibilities to go for short mobilities for like a week or something like that, called Blended Intensive Program, BIP. And we also have, you can check out Go Global for partner universities. And Andreas was talking earlier about collaborations with other universities that we also have. And Ingenium is like this, Ingenium is a European University Alliance. Last time I checked, but it might have changed, we have about 40 to 50 European university alliances all over Europe. And the one that University of Skövde is a member of is called Ingenium. And it's Mikael Eidebäck, our Deputy Vice Chancellor for Internationalization, who is responsible for the coordination here at our university. And their focus areas are within education, research, and entrepreneurship. We have 10 university locations. It's 10 universities that is a part of the alliance. You can see that it's like, it is Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, Italy, Spain, Germany, France, Ireland, and Sweden, and Finland as well. So a really great combination of universities all over the place, all over Europe. And it is like a super campus. We have altogether more than 170,000 students, more than 12,000 employees, and we have 10 work packages working together about sustainability, pedagogics, and research. So within these different work packages, they will have a different theme. So for example, I belong to the one working with inclusion as well, and diversity, basically. And then there are others working with interculturality, sustainability, and stuff like that. You can find more if you check out the QR code. And we also on a yearly basis do these short blended intensive mobilities. So that's also an opportunity for you to go on, like either the winter school or summer school, where you will be away for 1 week and being at one of the different campuses here at one of the universities that belongs to the University Alliance. We're just going to mention a bit short about what it costs to study here. Please tell us, Sarah, about that.
Yes. Are you guys still awake? I feel like we've been here for a while now. So I'm hoping, Taylor, are you here with us still?
Yeah,
You haven't
she's
fallen asleep. Okay, good, good. Just checking. I see there are still quite a few participants here. So it seems like you guys are still awake. I hope we're not boring you too much. But I think you want to know about tuition fees. So I'm just going to keep this pretty brief. The tuition fees for the academic year of 26-27, which is when you will be coming here, for bioscience, cognitive neuroscience, informatics, engineering, and game development, these are the fees. So for the one-year master programs, it's going to be 155,000 Swedish crowns. For the two-year master's programs, it's going to be 310,000 Swedish crowns. And for the three-year bachelor programs, it's going to be 465,000 Swedish crowns. And you pay this in installments. So you will pay an installment before every semester of 77,500 Swedish crowns, or that's around 7,000 euros if you would rather do euros than Swedish crowns. And for the business and marketing program, it's going to be a one-year master program at 110,000 Swedish crowns. Paid in installments of 55,000 Swedish crowns before every semester. And there are also some more costs that you might want to think about. So Karin is going to tell you about those.
Yes. So food here in Sweden is a bit expensive. That is about 3,000 Swedish crowns a month. I would say if you want to figure out what it is, just take away 1 0 and then you get ish what it's in euros ish. So that is about 300 euros ish. Accommodation is about 4,000 Swedish crowns. Local travel about 615 Swedish crowns. However, if you live in Skövde, there might not be so much traveling unless you want to leave the city because, you know, there's walking distance basically everywhere. Then you have all these other things like clothes or books or, you know, all the other useful things you need in your life. That is about 2,634 Swedish crowns altogether. It will cost you about 10,584 Swedish crowns or about 970 euros to live in Sweden per month. So just so you're aware, per month. And well, that was the food. And now we go into where do I live, Sarah?
Yes, where do you live? You live in Mariestad, Karin, but
That's true.
I actually live here in Skövde, not in the student housing. It's housing though, but I know exactly where they are.
Perhaps we should. We would have way much more fun then.
Yes, absolutely. That would be really cool. Anyway, the university does not have guaranteed housing. However, we do have 4 accommodational areas with furnished rooms that you can apply for. You have to keep in mind that families and pets are not allowed in these. So these are just for single students. The rent is around 365 to 460 euros every month. And you can apply for these as soon as you receive your admission letter. So don't wait because there is a queue for these. So apply as soon as you can. If you are coming with families or pets, you can look into, if we go to the next slide, you can look into the largest landlord here in Skövde, which is called Skövde Bostäder. They have a queuing system as well. And I know we've put here that you can put your name in the queue as soon as you receive your admission, but actually I talked to a student the other day and she said that you can put your name in now basically, because this is a queuing system and you receive points daily in their system. So you want as many points as you want, right? And you guys won't be coming until next autumn. So that's basically an entire year of points that you will have gathered up by then if you know that you want to apply. So it's free to be in the queue and you just sign up for it and then you're in the queue. So by the time you come here, you'll have enough points basically to probably get an apartment easier. So that's a good tip for you guys that I got from that student and I thought that was really clever. So definitely check them out in this QR code. And they don't have furnished rooms, but they're like student apartments and you can come with families and pets. And they also have regular apartments as well if you want that instead. Moving on to the scholarship opportunities, Karin.
Yes, I will give you a short introduction to it as well. The University of Skövde has its own master scholarships that covers 50% of the tuition fee. It's a tuition fee waiver. It is applicable for people who are non-European or EAE master students who choose the university as their first option. The application is open. Sorry, it is open. The deadline is on the 10th of February 2027. Please check out the QR code and read the instruction firmly. You will have to record a small film, and you will also write like a letter, a motivation text about why you have chosen the master programs at the University of Skövde. It's also important that you have Skövde as your first choice, your first priority. And
Karin, can I ask a question about that?
yeah, of course.
Just so that we're clear, if you're applying to the University of Skövde as your first choice, and then you also have a second choice and a third choice that's at our school, is it only for the first choice that you're available to apply for or is it all three?
For all of them. So if you have
Okay,
chosen
so as
that
long as the school is okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Because that
exactly.
was a little bit unclear. I thought I was talking to somebody about that the other day. I'm like, okay, what's that situation? Okay, so yeah, that's
No,
good to
I mean,
clarify, I think.
yeah, exactly. So if you have us as your first choice, as a school, that is totally correct. But please check out and when you're doing the motivation, please focus on why you think it's so important for you to study here, how it will affect your further career path in the long run. So it is important to like really show the motivation why you think this is important to be a part of the school and study here. And so please check out the QR codes for more information. We also have something called scholarships for global professionals. That is covers full tuition and living costs. It is available for master applicants from 32 eligible countries. The application is through the Swedish Institute, that is between the 9th of February until the 25th of February in 2026. We just want to highlight that there are some new regulations, so we don't know if all programs will be eligible and which countries that are. So it is like something new for us, and you will get the information by the time in February. So no worries about that. But for the moment, we can't give you so much more information more than it is something that might be possible for some of you who are not a European citizens. So please check it out as well. And there's also called something Pioneering Women in STEAM that is also covering full tuition and living costs. It's available for female master's students from 10 countries. It might also change. We don't know for the moment because they're doing a lot of changes, the Swedish institutes. It is application open. It is the Swedish Institute from the 9th of February until the 25th of February 2026. And now we have Taylor who's going to give us the student success story. So we're really glad. We start out really with the best things program coordinators, and now we follow it up with the student success stories. So Taylor, do you have a PowerPoint you want to share or something?
Yes, I do. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Yes, perfect.
Okay,
Awesome.
is
We're
it
so
visible?
excited now.
Yes, we can see it. Perfect.
Okay, great, fantastic. So, like I introduced myself at the beginning, but it's been a while. So, I'm Taylor Butler. Here's kind of my plan for what we're going to be talking about. So, first, a quick little information about me. Then I thought I'd talk to you about life in Skövde, studying in Skövde, and then also like the unique student life, because I think that is what makes studying in Sweden so rewarding. Let me see. There we go. Okay, so about me, I'm originally from the United States. This is actually my second time in Sweden, and I'm second time in Skövde. So I first came back in 2021 to visit a friend for their wedding. And then I previously worked as a manufacturing engineer, and I had been working abroad, and that sort of made me look for master's programs abroad. I'm in the Intelligent Automations master's program, so that's one of the engineering master's programs. And I have two cats, which I include because I actually moved them from the United States to Sweden with me. So if you have pets and are worried about that, I live in one of the student accommodations that allows animals, and I can absolutely talk about that more as well. So the first thing for living in Skövde, Skövde is a wonderful city to live in. The public transportation is really convenient. It's also really easy to travel within and around the entire region because it's all through one app that you can take the trains and the buses through. Everything in Skövde is nearby because Skövde is a little bit of a small town. So your grocery store, the mall, the movie theater, any sort of nightlife activities, even some of the farther away larger stores like Eco, are all maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes by bus if it's really far away. There's also, I think, one of the great things about Puebla is that there's a ton going on. So the local commune does a lot. There's some really great there's really great museum, there's the culture house, there's just a lot of things you can do. There's, if you want to study Swedish, they have language and fika days hosted by the city as well. And then most student housing is also really close to campus. So I think, like Sarah said, Skövde Starter has housing that is specific to you as a student. So only students can register for those apartments, and all of them are maybe 10 minutes walking to campus. My personal apartment is 5 minutes, like from my door. I'm literally right across from the campus. And then you're also centrally located in Sweden. So for me, that's like one of the great things as an international student is I can get on a train and in 2 to 4-ish hours be in Stockholm and then in 1.5 hours be in Gothenburg if I want to. So some pictures I have that's Skövde is very beautiful all seasons around. This was one from the fall on campus and then another from the summer. I personally actually stayed in Sweden over the summer. I went back to visit my family for maybe a few weeks, but I felt like if I survived the Swedish winter, I should stay to enjoy the summer, which it was well worth it. So within Skövde itself, like for instance, I mentioned the Culture House. When you come to Skövde, you should visit the Culture House. There is a museum inside, and it is really well curated. I think for like such a small town, and I say Skövde is really not that small. I think a lot of students coming from bigger places think it's small, but it's really well curated. It's a very great museum. There's also quite a lot of local nightlife. So, for instance, Mike's Pub, one of those pictures, is a restaurant slash bar downtown that my friends and I really like to go to on Saturday nights because they have live music. It's also really fun because there's a lot of locals there, so you get to interact a lot with Swedish people, and they tend to be a lot friendlier there in general. Sometimes Swedish people are kind of shy, but in Mike's Pub with live music, they are very friendly. And then there's also a lot of cultural activities. So, for instance, in December, I think there's like St. Lucia's Day, the city commune, there was a up on Billingen, they did a performance that I went to. This is from, I can't pronounce the name of the holiday, but it's like Volksborg. Somebody Swedish, please correct me.
Valborgsmässoafton.
Valborg, yes. So
Yes.
you light a giant fire to celebrate what the start of summer. We've survived the winter. It was really cool. That was another, the city had, I think Volvo's choir performed there. It was a really interesting experience. There was canoeing. So, and then of course there's Midsummer as well. I actually missed Midsummer this year and I'm really sad I was not in the country for it. But there's tons of things always going on. And I think the international office does a really good job of trying to make students aware of it as well. So within the city, there's things for you to do in the evening, there's cultural activities, and then there's also these holidays that you get to celebrate. I think we've already seen a map, but so this is Västergötland, which is sort of the region that Skövde is in. And like I said, it's really easy to travel within this whole area. I've been all over this map, and I wanted to share some of the cool places I've gone. So, for instance, this is Gothenburg. So, Gothenburg has a natural history museum, which is free for students. That's another really great thing about studying in Sweden is a lot of museums are free for students. So this was at the Natural History Museum in Gothenburg, which once again is an hour and a half away. And the app you use to purchase bus tickets in Skövde, you can also use to ride the train to and from Skövde and Gothenburg for around 11 euros is what it would be if you wanted to do it in euros, but in kroner, it's 111 kroner. And then the other picture is from an island in the archipelago in Gothenburg. So you can also use that app to take ferries when you get to Gothenburg to travel to the different islands if you want to go hiking, that's really fun. This is in U, which is like a small town on Skövde is in between the two biggest lakes in Sweden. I don't remember which lake U is on, but it is one of the biggest lakes. And so you can go there in the summer or even the fall. It doesn't really matter. The water is really cold, even in the summer. I didn't want to swim for a very long time, but it's really pretty. And then it also is really famous for ice cream. So people travel to U just to eat this ice cream. So my friends and I have gone to U several times just for ice cream. And once again, I think it's a 37 kroner bus ticket to get there in about 45 minutes. Other things, cranes. You can go see cranes in the spring. I got up at 5 a.m. to go see them. If you didn't know, these cranes migrate out of Sweden in the winter and then back to Sweden in the spring. And it's 9,000, I think, was the count or something the day we were there. I got up at 5 in the morning. Like I said, when I did it, I was sort of like, why am I getting up at 5 in the morning for this? And then we went and it was really cool. So when you get to Skövde, you should also go see the cranes. Once again, that was another 45-minute bus trip that was maybe 37 kroner. And then this is also from another island in the Gothenburg archipelago that I actually went to with ESN, which is in Shorn. And it was really cool. We also went to the Nordic Watercolor Museum there. We went because it was free for students again, but it was also a phenomenally curated museum. My mom has a master's of fine arts, so I've been to a lot of museums in my life, and this one was really beautiful. And it was also on the water, so the museum was very cool. So there are like just a ton of places you can travel in and around Skövde as well. So for studying, like I said, I study intelligent automation, so maybe not what you're interested in, but I think from the previous presentation, it was quite similar to my experience as well. So I also have a very small cohort. There's two international master's programs for engineers here, and I think between our two programs, there's 10 students in my year. So in my class year, there's 10 of us, and we share a lot of the same courses. So I've gotten to know both my classmates really well, but also my professors as well, because there is a lot of one-on-one time, and your professors are very open to emailing. Like they said, it's a very non-hierarchical relationship, which can take some getting used to from the United States. There's a lot of like respect you have to give professors. I still have to like stop myself from typing like, Dear Doctor so and so when I message somebody. It feels a little wrong every time I use their first name, but that is very much the culture here. And if you're ever like struggling with a course or something, professors are very willing to like talk to you and help you out. Additionally, like we really do benefit from the close relationship with local industry. And I in my courses have gotten a lot of opportunities to work on practical projects, not just with industry, but also, for instance, professors' research. So I took an ergonomics course, which was taught by some of the professors that do cognitive neuroscience and or just even neuroscience in general. And they brought in some of their own research and were showing that to us, which was really cool as an engineer because I didn't know anything about the subject. And they sort of talked about how it can apply to manufacturing. And I am going to talk about ASAR because for one of my classes, I did a project with ASAR where a local business had come to ASAR and they had sort of a issue with a product that they were manufacturing and they wanted to use AI/machine learning for quality testing. So, as a part of this course, which ran for the whole semester, me and two other classmates developed an AI system for them that could like scan pictures of this product and detect quality defects. And this company actually liked the project so much that over the summer they were asking us to keep working on it and to help them implement it in their facility. And so the school has actually now given me and my two classmates some funding to keep working on the project. So we're going to help them fully implement it in their company. And then we're also getting paid by the university to do this. So that's like kind of a really awesome thing that just from this group project that we did that went really well, we then now get this professional opportunity to work academically on research at the university, but then also with a local company. And hopefully, too, after we're done, the company will be able to give us a reference for work because that's also a really big thing here in Sweden is having professional references. And then now on to student life, and I think what makes studying in Sweden so unique. So Sweden does have a very unique student culture, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So they have these things called OVs, which are basically overalls. And I have some pictures that I will show you later. And then they also do things called sittnings, which are basically generally, there's kind of two different types of sittnings. You either are sitting outside and you have these Toastmasters who are entertaining you and people come up and they give plays. There's sometimes drinking involved, there's sometimes not drinking involved. And then you have fancy sittings where you're inside and you're eating dinner generally, and people are performing on a stage. And those can vary in dress code based on theme, but they're very fun. There's also a lot of student organizations. I think, like they talked about the student union. So within the student union, you have organizations that are related to your degree program. So, for instance, I'm a member of HISTech, which is the organization for engineers. And these organizations do a lot to help you with your studies. So if you can turn in an exam to them, and then they will make that exam available to all other students. So if you want to look at past exams for previous classes, you can go to the student union and see if one of their organizations has taken that exam from a previous class. But there's also interest-based ones. So for instance, there's a music organization, there's an organization for gaming. If you're interested in IT, there's actually an organization that does the internet for student housing on campus. I have a Swedish friend who's a member of that. And so that's really cool. You actually get professional experience via this organization. And then I also really appreciate it because my internet is like 60 euros a semester, which is really cheap if you think about it. And then another organization, which I am the president of and also a member of, is ESN, which is the Erasmus Student Network. Basically, we're an organization dedicated to the local, like the internationalization of higher education. So we, one, work to promote and improve the student life for international students here. So hopefully, when you apply and get accepted to the university, you'll see a lot more of us and you'll see us on Instagram. We like to do live streams for incoming students, or you might email us with questions. But then we also work to encourage students here to study abroad, whether that be short-term or long-term programs. So if you are interested in studying abroad, we can also help you connect with resources there. And then we do just general events for students as well. And all of our events are done in English. And then another one of the great benefits of being a Swedish student is, or a student in Sweden, is that we get tons of discounts. So as a student, you will get access to a discount card that gets you discounts at major fast food chains, stores, electronics, a lot of the museums. So that is also another plus. And so here are these oaths that I was talking about. Basically, this is a culture across all of Sweden, but it actually, how you wear them and how they work varies quite a bit from university to university. So they're essentially overalls that you have to initiate, and then you get to wear them with the overall, the top part down, and you sort of just wear them as pants. But how it works is you buy and collect patches from going to events. Different organizations will sort of sell funny patches that you can buy to show that you're a member. If you go to a sitting, generally that will come with a patch. So it's just basically this physical representation of your time here as a student. And you also, there's a tradition, for instance, you can see my overalls have some green on them. My overalls are white because I'm a member of HISTech. The color generally corresponds to the organization that you're a part of. For cognitive neuroscience, I'm not sure which academic department you fall under. But for instance, like the biosciences is green. I think nurses are a darker green. Economics is blue. So the colors vary depending on what you do. There's also special oaths that you can get if you join. The student pub has their own overalls that once you join them and start working for them, you can purchase their color specifically. But so students, if you change sections, they'll cut the overalls in half and sew them together. If you are friends with somebody, that's why I have a green arm, is my friend, I cut off her arm and we traded arms for our oaths. to show that we're friends. And then you also then sew on your patches. And it's just a physical representation of your time here as a student and all the events you've gone to and the friends you've made. They are a little pricey. I think they're around 50 euros, but I think it's worth it. It's a great souvenir to take with you, whether you stay in Sweden or go off somewhere else in the world. So, for instance, here's a picture of me and some of my friends wearing our oaths on a night out. So, generally, you will wear these out to sittings. A lot of the student organizations will do events specifically where you just all get together and sew patches on your oaths. And then for ESN, so a great thing about ESN is I've gotten to travel all over Sweden as well. So as a part of my time, we have a one of our big events, if you like board games, is we do a weekly board game night. We'll do movie nights. I think we're going to do pumpkin carving this weekend. We did a Diwali night, so that's another thing if you're coming from another culture and you're worried about, missing out on your holidays, we are more than happy to like help you fund a big New Year's celebration or a big event, whatever holiday you happen to celebrate. And for instance, one of these pictures is from Lund. I went to a cottage weekend in Lund because ESN is a part of a network. So we belong to ESN Sweden, and then there are sections across all of Sweden that we collaborate with. So Lund invited us to a cottage weekend in Vittu. It basically means White Lake. So we went down there and they had a sitting, and the theme was ancient Greece. So you saw a lot of guys in togas. And I recently just got back from an international event, actually in Riga, Latvia. So that was us there as well. So if you join, if you come to Skövde and you join one of our organizations, there are a lot of opportunities to not just see Skövde or the surrounding area, but also other parts of Sweden and then other parts of the world. I think Sarah mentioned earlier that you get to meet a lot of people from all over, and that has really been my case. The summer I spent about 2 weeks in Spain with a friend that I had made from there, staying at their house, and we drove all over the south of Spain. So you can make some really great connections and meet some really cool friends, and it can open up a lot of really cool opportunities for you. So that is my presentation. If you guys have any questions about student life or housing or really anything, I know a lot, so feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, Taylor. Please write them in the chat. I'm going to start asking. So please, can you give us like the best tips? If you're coming here as a student to the University of Skövde and to Sweden, what are your best tips?
My best tip is one, join Sarah's, right? You should start queuing in Skövde Starter right away. I got really lucky with my apartment. I had only been in the queue for like 10 days, but that is a benefit that international students have, is we find out that we've been accepted to the university before national students. So there is about a month where you can get an apartment before international students who oftentimes kind of outbid us in the queuing area are starting to look, because national students maybe say, oh, I have these 4 universities I want to go to school with. So they've been in the queue for maybe multiple years because they understand the system. But so that's definitely join the queue. And then I would also say get involved when you come to Skövde. Like join a student organization, whether it be related to your major, related to your interest. It could be ESN. I think one of the hardest things to do is if you don't make any friends and then you're kind of alone in a foreign country. So I think putting yourself out there, being involved in campus life, you gain a lot from it.
And culture clashes. You come from the US?
Yes, I'm from the United States.
Yeah. What did you find?
United States, people talk to me all the time, and I'm kind of like, why are you talking to me? So I have a little bit of a reverse culture shock now where I've gotten really used to, I think on the bus, it drives me crazy. Swedish people will leave their bag in the seat so you can't sit there.
True.
Because they don't, at 6 feet apart is very easy for Swedish people. That's kind of their default setting, I think.
That's true. That is like,
especially on public transport.
That's true, because you put the bag there, so you hope that no one will sit there until someone asks, and then you very politely put away the bag, but you hope that you will be sitting there in your.
But then also, if the bus is full, sometimes they'll leave their bag there, and you're like, well, I don't want to ask you, so I guess I'll just stand.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I I do a bit of mix. I usually put my bag there, and then when I see that it started to get full, I put it on my knee. So,
Right.
so people shouldn't be able to ask. It shouldn't need to ask. So that's true. More things that you have noticed that you go like, okay, or just find interesting.
Oh, this is kind of a weird one, but Swedish people always, when you're checking out at the grocery store, they always put the little divider for your two separate, like, this is my stuff and this is your stuff. They always put the divider in front for you.
Oh yeah, that's true.
In
Yeah.
the States, it's always the opposite. Like, I would put the divider down before putting my stuff, but
Oh.
they always do that. I don't know why, but that was like one of the first things I noticed because it felt very polite to me. I was like, oh, they're putting it down for me. How nice.
That's true. I never thought about that. It's like, yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
Yes.
More things you find.
Swedish people are very non-confrontational as well, which I think Americans are much more, it's much more noticeable out, like if you go out to karaoke or something as well, because
Mm.
that's kind of when they start having a few drinks or anything, then they get a little bit more boisterous.
That's true. That's true. People get Swedish people, they usually say that Swedish people get very, more talkative when they get a bit of alcohol or they
Yes.
go abroad. If you meet a Swedish person in Greece, they will never stop talking. They will talk so much to you because they
Yes.
have met someone from the
Well,
same
I will say,
country.
I think that's quite true here. I have quite a few Swedish friends, actually,
Mm,
surprisingly, and I've made a lot of them just by talking to them.
mm,
So I think if you talk to them first, a lot of times Swedish people are much
mm,
more receptive to that. Maybe they don't want to be the first one.
mm,
Another thing, oh, I had something and I just totally forgot what it was.
mm.
But I'm sure it will come back to me. There's
It
quite a
will,
few differences.
yeah.
Oh, I
But
was going to say stores close really early here. If you're
yeah,
coming from another country, I think especially outside of the EU,
mm,
um, some stores close at like 6 in the afternoon,
that's true.
which is
Yeah.
That,
really early. So like if you want to go to the grocery store, do your grocery shopping by 9. Especially I think because Hubd is smaller, there's not
yeah.
really any 24-hour store.
Mm.
Or like if you are out and you're like, oh, I want food, the only thing that's really open past 10 is McDonald's or Max. And they're a little bit farther out of town, so it's not really a walking distance for a student.
No,
Yeah.
that's true. Oh, we have to explain Max. What is Max?
Oh, yes, I should have included a picture because I love Max. Max is basically Swedish McDonald's. So it is a Swedish fast food chain and it sells burgers, sandwiches, like chicken sandwiches. It's kind of a McDonald's menu. It's a fast food like chicken nuggets, but it is Swedish and you have to try it when you get here.
There's also another one, Sibylla, that is also a Swedish one.
Yes.
There's a couple Swedish brands that you will notice the difference and can compare. So that's true. Yeah, but I noticed that because concerning opening hours, I've been living in bigger cities and then it's way
Yes.
much more generous. So it is like that's true. I live in Mariestad, as we mentioned before, that is even
Yes.
smaller than it is. We have one cafe restaurant that is open a bit later. That's basically,
Yes.
so Skövde is like in Sweden, a medium-sized city. It's about almost 60,000 inhabitants. So, but still, there's some
Right.
people.
People will say Skövde is small, but it feels big. Especially
Yeah,
when you think about all the places you can
yeah.
go in and around Skövde.
Mm,
There's so much to do even within like a 30-minute bus ride.
mm, mm. That's absolutely true. And the thing is, I've been living in Gothenburg as well, and
Mhm.
Halmstad is a bigger city. But what I do like living in a smaller city is that the short distances, you will be
Yes.
able to do all your errands at the same time. When I was living in Gothenburg, it's like I was living either, yeah, on an island, but also in one of the suburbs. And, it took it forever just to get into
Yes.
the city center because sometimes in the suburbs they did just have like a grocery shop. So if you wanted to go and buy clothes, you needed to go at least half an hour. Here, half an hour, then you're walking halfway to my stad, basically.
Yes.
So it's like, so that's the difference. But yeah, but I think it's so, but also ESN. I mean, you do so much great things. One thing I do like is that I think you did this last year, no, this year, because in Sweden, the Eurovision Song Contest is the
Yes.
thing. It's so big. And then you will go do gatherings. I'm going to let you talk about that, what you have done.
Oh yes, so last year it would still be technically this year, but last
Mm.
semester the Swedish professor actually was a really big fan of Eurovision, so she asked us if she could introduce Eurovision to the international students because if you're from somewhere like the US like me, maybe you're sort of like I only seen kind of goofy the competition. So we asked her to give a presentation to students about the history of Eurovision, what it is, how it works, and then we had a live watch party of Eurovision for the final.
Mm.
I think the finale of Eurovision
Mm.
to see who wins officially, which Sweden was robbed this year.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. We were robbed. It
It's another
happened.
thing. Learn Barbar Bastu if you're coming to Sweden.
Yeah, yeah, that's
It's a
true.
great karaoke song. They'll be really
It
excited
is.
when you play it at karaoke.
It is so fun. It means just take a bath in the sauna,
Yeah.
basically translation.
Yeah, the
So
song is about being in the sauna.
yeah, it is true. And we have won this Eurovision contest quite a lot of time. I think was it we in Ireland? Perhaps we are like the one who has been, winning
Yes,
it so many
Sweden,
times.
I think, has won the most of any,
Mm. Mm.
which I learned at our event.
Yeah, that's true. And it's a lot of Swedish artists. They will start. They will always try to participate in one of the competitions because there are a lot of competitions. It's like 4 or 5
Right.
evenings in Sweden before you get the final one that will to Eurovision. And it is a really great place for people to start their careers. It's like the best thing. So it is huge. So it's something a really amazing part of the Swedish culture.
Yes.
Uh, is there something more you want to add?
I don't know. There's so much. I feel like I think Skövde is also really easy to live in. Most people speak English, so you don't
Yeah.
have to worry too much about any sort of language barriers, even when you're, accessing the
Mm.
doctor or, even my cat's veterinarian spoke English. So all of your like kind of basic needs can
Mm.
be done in English.
Mm.
Obviously, learning Swedish really helps, but
Mm.
it takes a while to do that. So until you've
Mm.
done it, you're, pretty good to go.
Exactly. And I just want to highlight also that Taylor is one of our new student ambassadors. She will be on the website, and then you will be able to send emails to her as well. On the website, I have your new address here. I
Oh,
was
fantastic.
so if it's okay if I put it here so they can,
Yes, please do.
then I'll just going to put it here. Let's see, student ambassadors, and this is the correct one. Oh, Uh, yes. So I'm going to give you an introduction more on Monday.
Okay.
So here it is. As mentioned, and we're going to soon put the picture on Taylor as well as information on the website. It will be there, I think, next week. I was checking with the webmaster. So
Fantastic.
then she will be able to answer questions and stuff like that. And she will participate in a couple of more webinars as well.
Yes.
So perfect. Well, thank you so much, Taylor. And if you have, I couldn't see any more questions to Taylor, but if you
Yeah.
have anyone, you can write them in the chat and we will get back to that. But we will do have some more pictures before we'll call it a day. And yes, so what we're going to do is that we're just going to go a bit fast through the how to apply process. The thing is, we will also have a specific webinar with our colleague Andrea that you can join later on this semester, where she will go through really firmly how to do your application. So we're just going to give you a short introduction. So the application procedure is that all applications are made via universityadmission.se. Even if you apply to the University of Skövde, another university, all applications in Sweden go through university admission. We don't have so many private universities, and those few we have, they might have a bit different, but mainly all of them. It's important that you submit supporting documents. And non-European applicants must pay 900 Swedish crowns as application fee because it's only non-European citizens who pay tuition fees or application fees. So if you belong to the European Union, have a European citizenship or an EEA citizenship, you don't have to pay anything. But if you don't, you have to do that. The first admission round that you need to apply to is between the 16th of October, so it's open until the 15th of January 2026. In October, the application period opens. Then you have the application deadline in January. You have the notification of selection results published in March, April. We have to do the payment of the tuition fee and residence permit application, and the semester starts. Well, I do recommend you to pay your tuition fee as soon as possible. It will be easier for you when you do because you can't do the residence permit application otherwise. That's the thing. And here, between January and April, is where a lot of the scholarships applications closes. So please be aware that here in this period, it is important. And deadlines for the autumn, if you want to join us for the autumn 2026, which we really, really hope, is that you need to apply before the 15th of January. Before the 2nd of February, you need to apply. You need to pay the application fee. It is the deadline. If you do not pay this application fee for about 19 euros, 900 Swedish crowns, they will not look into your application. So do that. And you also have the deadline to document fee exemption status. That is on the 2nd of February. So if you're European citizen, you need to make sure that you have sent in your passport and make sure that you apply for it, that you should not pay tuition fees. You also need to, before the 2nd of February, send in your supporting documents. You will get the admission results published for the masters on the 26th of March, and your university will contact you if you need to apply. And then in August, September, the autumn semester starts. You can please use the QR codes here to find more information. Also, a required documents for the master programs is your bachelor's degree certificate in original language, as well as official English translation, unless you come from an English-speaking country. Full grade transcript, all semesters, again, original language and official English translation. So it needs to be an authorized translator who has done the translation. The proof of English skill is that you have an English 6th level. Usually IELTS or TOEFLs. See country-specific requirements. I'm going to show you this really soon. A passport copy, if you're doing your final bachelor's here, you need to have a statement of enrolled certificate. And it looks like this. You can find it here on the QR code. As mentioned, I'm going to open here. You can see here, I think I put it already. It's for the programs. We were talking about the admission requirements and stuff like that. You have it there. And then we have university admission. And it's very important that you, when you check here, let's look for, say, India. Then you can find what you need. So here is meeting the general entry requirements. You find it here. What type you need, meeting the English requirements, and here you'll find information if you do it or not, or if you need to have an English test. And here you can also find different types of English tests that you will be able to use. Here is also defined in the year of bachelor studies page. So that's something I really recommend you to check out as well. If you're doing your bachelor thesis and you will, if you're doing the last year of your bachelor's and you will finish in June and July. And here's also a page about English language requirements. That was linked to that you can find what you need. IELTS and, for example, here you can find them. You find TOEFL, a lot of things. So please check it out, because when you do the application, it will go through university admission first. And then that's why that information is so important to check out, depending on from which country. I don't remember if I said which country you come from, but it's the country where you have your degree from. So you might come from Nigeria, but if you have studied in the US, then you don't need to do an English test because it's where you have studied that counts, not where you come from. And yes, and then we also have migration requirements, and this is also if you come from a country outside Europe or EIA, you need to be admitted into full-time studies. Studies must be campus-based, and you need to support yourself during the time you're applying. You have to have paid a tuition fee before you send in the application. Very important to remember that if you come with the family, you need to include them in your application, because if you apply later on, it will be more problematic, because then it will be higher. You have to have way much more money to be able to let them join you later. So you have to make sure that you include them in your application. Upon graduation, well, it's possible for you to apply for residence permit, to look for a job, do an internship, or open your own business in Sweden up to a year after your application. So you can stay for 1 more year as well. But then you also need to have finished your studies. There's a couple of requirements, so please check out the QR code here as well. And Sarah, can you just talk a bit about our online activities?
Of course, yeah. So if you're here today, you already know that we have webinars. We have quite a few of those. And we can actually link in the chat to where you can book more seats to our webinars if you want that. Because there's obviously webinars for, this is the third one that we're having. So games has already passed, but there's a few more webinars for the other programs at our school. We also have a digital open house that is coming up, and I can link because that registration is open too. I'll link that in the chat. At the digital open house, you'll be able to meet all program directors. There will be specific rooms where you can talk to program directors and students from different programs. And yeah, it's usually a very appreciated event by our students. So I would definitely come to that if you're interested in more than one program and you might want to like browse around a little bit, ask questions to many different people at once. Like the open house is definitely for you. And we will present all of our programs there. So yeah, you're very welcome to come. We also offer webinars for our applicants. So both before you've applied, like you're here right now, but also after you've received your admission. So you know what to do next, like what to do before coming to Sweden and what to do when you're here. So yeah, we try to offer as much help as we can from the international office side. We also have student ambassadors, like we talked about. Taylor is our newest member of the team here. We also have a few others. You can use this QR code to get to their page on our website, and you can contact them about basically anything. There are no stupid questions for the student ambassadors, so you can ask them anything about student life or studying here with us in Sweden. And the reason why we have a few is because they're obviously students of different schools. So they have different experience with different questions. So try to find the one that's most similar to the field you want to be studying. We also have ambassadors at Study in Sweden, and they share their stories there. You can check out their stories in the QR codes right here. And these are very interesting, so I've definitely looked them up. They're all students of the University of Skövde. Yes, if you have any more questions, you can always feel free to contact us here at the International Office. This is our email address, and I will put that in the chat as well if you have more questions after this webinar is finished.
And yes, we're all looking forward to welcome you to the university in August, of course. And that is like some of the, it is a summer month. It's absolutely lovely. It's so amazing to come here in August. It will be, yes, basically the best part of the year. So please join us and come here, visit us, be a part of this university. Hope to see you. And we're going to say goodbye for you who will look into the recording later on, because now we will switch off the recording and we will continue with the Q&A. So thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Katja, for participating in the webinar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Karin.
Thank you.
Thank you. and we hope to see you here, all of you. So bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.